Welcome. Today is period 5, section 2, and today we're going to be talking about individuals who possibly led to causes of the Civil War. The first individual that we're going to discuss is John Brown, pictured here. John Brown was a radical abolitionist, meaning he went above and beyond what normally people would do to end slavery. For example, at Pottawatomie Creek, Kansas, he and his sons brutally attacked 5 pro-slavery men as they slept on the banks of the creek. John Brown chopped their hands off and murdered them. This kicks off the event that we discussed in the previous section, which is known as Bleeding Kansas. John Brown decides then to attempt to come east to a place called Harper's Ferry, West Virginia. He learns of a arms depot located there filled with guns and bullets, and his plan is to use these guns and bullets to lead a slave uprising against the local plantations. He successfully takes over the arms depot, but when his sons leave to go to the local plantations to bring slaves back to arm them, the townspeople show up and start shooting at John Brown. When his sons arrive back from the plantations without any slaves, they're surrounded by townspeople, and then the United States Army shows up, led by Robert E. Lee. Robert E. Lee and the United States Army captured John Brown, killed 2 of his 3 sons, took John Brown back to Washington, D.C., and within a month, John Brown had been tried and hung for his crimes. John Brown becomes what's known as a martyr. A martyr is someone who dies for a cause and becomes more important dead than they were alive. The next individual that led to the Civil War was Dred Scott, pictured here. Dred Scott was a slave whose owner took him into free territory in Wisconsin. And while there, the owner died. Dred Scott, who was semi-educated, and many of his friends who were formally educated, decided to sue on his behalf and say that since he was in free territory, he was a free man. His case was challenged all the way up to the Supreme Court, and in a 5-4 decision with a Southerner, Chief Justice Roger B. Taney, breaking the tie, a Southerner who owned slaves, Dred Scott lost. Basically, this court case upheld slavery. These 2 words are very important when remembering the Dred Scott court case. This case and John Brown's martyrdom really added to the number of abolitionists in our country and expedited the beginning of the Civil War.